There's a pattern that most people never see coming. It starts quietly. It starts with someone who appears charitable, mentoring, kind. But then, slowly, the mask slips. And when it does, you begin to realize that everything, every gesture, every relationship, every decision was never about love. It was about control. It was about power. And it was always about feeding something deep inside that can never be satisfied. The narcissist's pattern. When Bryshere entered the Smith household, nobody suspected what would unfold. He was young, ambitious, and looking for guidance. What he didn't know was that he was walking into a carefully constructed game one, orchestrated by someone who had perfected the art of manipulation over decades.
When you got a woman that don't really like you,
Hold on. Time out. You're not the first man that said this.
Come on now. I don't think she does.
But damn, how they gonna be married all these years? At some point in time,
I think she like the lifestyle. Now, who's she gonna marry with that much money?
A pattern of deception. But here's where things get strange. Jada Pinkett Smith wasn't just passively watching from the sidelines. She was actively orchestrating events, pulling strings, creating chaos, and destroying lives in the process. And in a shocking moment, she actually revealed why she did it. That's what we're diving into today. To understand how someone like Jada Pinkett Smith operates, we need to first understand what narcissism actually looks like in real time. It's not just about arrogance or vanity. Real narcissism is far more sinister than that. It's a psychological condition where a person has an excessive need for admiration, a lack of genuine empathy for others, and most importantly, an obsessive need to maintain control at any cost. Narcissistic personality disorder. Key traits. The narcissist doesn't destroy people because they hate them. They destroy people because they need the power of destruction. They need to feel superior. They need to know that someone else's pain is a direct result of their actions. It's validation. It's fuel. Now, back in 2018, Jada Pinkett Smith did something that most celebrities never do. She actually admitted to something on her own show, Red Table Talk, that revealed a deeper truth about who she really is. She was talking about her past, her struggles, and then she said something that made everyone stop and listen.
You ever had an addiction? Yes, I've had several. When I was young, I definitely think I had a sex addiction of some kind.
Jada's addiction confession. At the time, people thought she was being brave. They thought she was being honest and vulnerable. But what she was actually doing was laying the groundwork for a much larger narrative. She was telling us who she was, and we weren't listening carefully enough. Because addiction, especially sex addiction, isn't just about desire. For a narcissist, it's about something much darker. It's about using people as objects to fulfill an insatiable hunger. The narcissist's need for control. And here's the thing that makes this so calculated. Jada framed it as something she had worked through, something in her past, something healed. But the evidence would soon suggest that nothing was healed at all. The addiction hadn't gone away. It had just evolved into something more dangerous, something more intentional. To understand what happened with Bryshere, we have to go back to the very beginning, to 1994, to the moment Will Smith and Jada Pinkett met. Will and Jada meet, 1994. And according to multiple sources close to the situation, Jada made something very clear from day one. She didn't want to be married to Will Smith. She may have wanted the lifestyle, the status, the access to power that came with being married to him. But she didn't want him, and that's a crucial distinction. In fact, when they first started getting to know each other, Jada brought her girlfriend along to meet Will. Think about what that signals. That wasn't a mistake. That wasn't a coincidence. That was a statement. That was Jada saying, without saying it out loud, I'm going to do what I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want, and you're just going to have to accept it. Just the beginning of a pattern. And what did Will do? He accepted it. He stayed because Will Smith was in love. He wanted the marriage to work. He wanted to make it last. But Jada, she was playing a different game entirely. Now, most people think the Smiths only got married because of love, but that's not the case. According to those who knew them during that time, Jada got pregnant. Her mother forced her to marry Will. It wasn't a choice that came from her heart. It was an obligation that she resented from the very beginning.
You got a woman that don't really like you.
Hold on. Time out. You're not the first man that said this.
Come on now. I don't think she does.
But damn, how they gonna be married all these years? At some point in time,
I think she like the lifestyle. Now, who's she gonna marry with that much money? Oprah. Hey, Oprah ain't gonna have her. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, and then she's mean.
The marriage was built on a lie. This is crucial because once you understand that Jada never wanted this marriage, everything else makes sense. Every affair, every betrayal, every time she brought someone into their home and into their bed, it wasn't infidelity in the traditional sense. It was a weapon. It was a calculated move to humiliate Will, to break him down, to make him feel small and inadequate. And Will, he kept forgiving her. He kept defending her. He kept trying to make it work because he was in love with someone who who was never in love with him back. But the question is, why would Jada stay in a marriage she didn't want? Why wouldn't she just leave? Why she stayed? The narcissist's paradox. Because a narcissist doesn't leave. A narcissist stays because they need the audience. They need the control. They need someone to hurt. Will Smith became Jada's life project, her way of proving to herself that she had power over another human being. And the more he forgave her, the more she despised him for it. Now, before Bryshere Gray came along, there were others. So many others. And each one followed a disturbingly similar pattern. Let's start with August Alsina. Everyone knows that story. August was Jaden's best friend. He came to the house looking for mentorship, looking for guidance because he had family issues of his own. And instead of getting help, he got caught up in a relationship with Jada. When August eventually spoke about it publicly, it became known as the infamous entanglement. August Alsina and the entanglement. But here's what most people missed. That wasn't a mistake. That wasn't a moment of weakness or a lapse in judgment. That was Jada deliberately targeting her son's best friend, someone vulnerable, someone who was already dealing with personal trauma, someone who wouldn't have the resources or the confidence to push back. And when August tried to move on with his life, when he tried to tell his story, Will Smith ended up on a global stage slapping Chris Rock. And suddenly the narrative shifted. Suddenly Will became the villain, and Jada, she got away with it. The pattern, vulnerability as target. But the August Alsina situation was just practice, just a warm-up, because then came Tyler, the Creator. Jaden Smith brought Tyler, the Creator, around his family. And according to sources, Jaden was interested in Tyler, romantically interested. But that didn't matter to Jada. She saw someone young, talented, and connected. She saw someone her son cared about, and that made Tyler the perfect target.
I feel like I just want to say Tyler, the Creator, is the best friend in the world, and I love him so fucking much. And I want to tell you guys something. I want to tell you, Tyler doesn't want to say, but Tyler's my motherfucking boyfriend, and he's been my motherfucking boyfriend.
Jaden's public confession. This clip, Jaden's emotional outburst on stage, wasn't random. It wasn't just a young man expressing his feelings. According to those close to the situation, Jaden was making a public statement. He was trying to protect Tyler from his mother. He was trying to make it awkward. He was trying to put a spotlight on what Jada was doing so she would stop. But did she stop? No, she allegedly continued the relationship anyway. The Tyler situation, a son's cry for help. And that's when you start to see the true nature of the narcissist. It's not just about getting what you want, it's about taking what someone else cares about. It's about demonstrating that you can do whatever you want to whoever you want and no one can stop you. That's the power. That's the validation a narcissist craves. Then came Mark Anthony, another coworker, another situation where Jada brought someone into the home and into the intimate spaces of her marriage. When Will found them, he was so upset that he reportedly put hands on her. But even physical confrontation wasn't enough to make Will actually leave. And then there was Tommy Davidson during the filming of The Woo. Another kiss, another confrontation, another moment where Will had to swallow his pride and his pain.
He's standing over me like this. And he's like, I don't appreciate that, man. I don't appreciate that. And I'm like, well, what you talking about? I always know to play it off.
Will's silent suffering. Listen to the pain in Tommy Davidson's retelling of that moment. Will couldn't even confront him properly because he was afraid of the media attention. He was humiliated. He was broken. And Jada knew it. That's what she wanted. But none of that, not August, not Tyler, not Mark, not Tommy, none of it compared to what Jada would do with Bryshere Gray. Because with Bryshere, she had the perfect piece on the board. Enter Bryshere Gray. Bryshere was young. He was talented. He was ambitious. He had just come to Hollywood with virtually nothing. And Will Smith, being the public figure that he is, announced that he was going to mentor Bryshere. He was going to bring him under his wing. He was going to guide his career. For Jada, this was the ultimate opportunity because here was someone that Jaden didn't have an existing relationship with. Here was someone that Will genuinely cared about and wanted to help. Here was the perfect storm. Will's public mentorship announcement. According to sources and insider accounts, Jada didn't just have a casual relationship with Bryshere. She actively pursued him. She brought him into the house. She made herself available to him. And at the same time, and this is crucial, Will was also getting involved with him.
There was, so how Jada would watch at the house is she had her laptop, she would stick her hard drive in, right? Boom, and hook it up to the TV. And she could play whatever video she's watching.
The house becomes a stage. Now, what that clip is suggesting is dark. It's suggesting that Jada was actually displaying and potentially sharing intimate content at the house. It's suggesting that this wasn't just about personal relationships, it was about humiliation on a scale that's hard to even comprehend. Bryshere came to that house looking for guidance. He came looking for a mentor. He came looking for someone to help him navigate this industry. Instead, he walked into into a trap. Bryshere's downfall begins, and here's where it gets even more sinister. When Jada was done with him, when she had extracted everything she needed from the situation, Will turned his back on Bryshere completely. Will washed his hands of him, and according to accounts, Bryshere was left with nothing. No mentorship, no career guidance, no safety net. Instead, Bryshere ended up on OnlyFans, making explicit content to survive. The career that was supposed to be launched by Will Smith became a complete and utter devastation. From mentorship to exploitation. But why? Why would Jada do this? Why would she target someone so young and vulnerable? What was the purpose? And that's when Jada actually revealed something. In her Red Table Talk episodes, when she was talking about her sex addiction, she wasn't just confessing something from her past. She was explaining her current behavior. She was telling us that she has an insatiable need, a hunger that can't be satisfied by one person, a hunger that requires fresh victims, a hunger that feeds on youth, vulnerability, and trust.
When I was young, I definitely think I had a addiction of some kind. Yes, that everything could be fixed by sex.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Or
It's the
thing.
behavior.
It's the behavior that's attached to it.
The root, Jada's confession. Listen to those words. It's the behavior that's attached to it, and they need someone who will stay no matter how much they're hurt, someone like Will Smith. The reason this matters is because understanding this pattern can help people recognize it in their own lives, in their own relationships, in their own families. When someone tells you who they are, you have to believe them. Jada told us. She literally said on television, "I have a sex addiction. The behavior attached to it is the issue." She was telling us that she can't control herself. She was telling us that she will use people as objects to satisfy her needs. She was telling us that she doesn't see other people as human beings. She sees them as tools. Believe what they tell you about themselves. Will Smith could have left. Jaden could have cut his mother out of his life. Bryshere could have told his story, but they didn't. Because narcissists don't just destroy their victims once they destroy them repeatedly, over and over again, until the victims themselves start to believe that they deserve it. And that's the real tragedy here, not just what happened to Bryshere Gray, but what's happening right now to everyone trapped in a similar situation. Because a narcissist doesn't stop. They can't stop. The hunger never goes away. There will always be another victim. There will always be another chance to demonstrate power. There will always be another game to play. The cycle never ends. And the only way it stops is when someone finally says no, when someone finally walks away, when someone finally decides that their dignity is worth more than staying in the game. That's what needs to happen. And until it does, the pattern continues. If you recognize this pattern in your own life, reach out, get help. Because nobody deserves to be treated like Bryshere Gray was treated. Nobody deserves to be trapped in Will Smith's position. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this video.